What's up, dudes and dudettes? It's time for another edition of Dudes After Dark. We are joined tonight, first time ever, we've had a meteorologist on, Dillon Gaudet, a meteorologist out of Louisville, straight out of the West Virginia. He's wearing his Mountaineers gear tonight. We're excited to have him on and talk all things about the weather and just that side of the world. Fun deep dive here. We're really looking forward to that. As always, we're brought to you by Garage Beer. It's beer. It's beer-flavored beer. Look at the Garage Beer locator. See where the closest store is close to you because they are spreading like wildfire. Some guy the other day was like, it's not even close. I said, give me your address. He gave me his address. Found 5 places for him within 20 minutes. He had no idea. So go check out over at drinkgaragebeer.com. Let's get to tonight's show, shall we? Let's go.
Welcome to the Dude Network, where we chill and unwind. Food, sports, entertainment, the best of its kind. Grab your buddies, have a seat, let's have a good time. 4 nights a week, we'll make sure you feel just fine. Join us as we dive into the coolest trends. Dude Network, where the fun never ends. Dude Network, where the fun never ends. Hanging out with the dudes and dudettes. Talking about the things we love, no regrets. Tune in, relax, and let the good vibes flow. The Dude Network, the place to go.
What?
What's up, everybody?
Garage Lime in the house.
Got him.
Yep. John Z, how we doing, sir? How we doing?
Fantastic, fellas. What about you guys? Damon?
Hey, living a dream, but I hope I don't wake up.
Ooh,
That's deep.
saucy.
That's deep.
Dude, man. Leave it up to always with Damon, man.
Damon just comes out of the woodwork with those just tear jerkers, bro.
Yeah.
Damon, you gotta be careful. With that kind of power comes great responsibility. You gotta be careful how you just.
Oh, I can tote it.
Okay.
I got broad shoulders. I can tote it. I can tote that load.
There you go. Tote that load. I'm real excited because my favorite movie growing up was Twisters.
It's a classic.
It's a classic. Anytime there was like a storm, just go nuts, man. Just love storms. So, loved Weather Channel. Loved watching. Who didn't love Jim Cantori before he went full where Jim Cantori is now? But when Jim Cantori got started, Jim Cantori was the man. I did. Yeah. I don't think I'm speaking out there here. Yeah.
No, definitely not.
I'm just saying now, though. If you see Jim in your town, something's wrong.
Right.
It's not cool for him to come visit you now.
Leave.
Yeah.
That's your sign to move.
That actually reminds me. I got a question.
Oh, here we go.
Well, I'm going to write it down. Because there is a. Hang on. Okay, I'm good. I got it wrote down. I won't forget it because you know how my brain is. So, but let's get to it here tonight because tonight we have the future of meteorology.
Oh,
and on-air weather personalities, maybe even sports. This guy does it both.
Oh snap!
He's like a Swiss Army knife of news
News
stations.
cat. Let's go.
He knows how to run the camera. I bet even his own security. I bet he has to go fight bobcats himself out in the woods to get those shots.
Well, I definitely put money on him.
Yeah, 100%. You know why? Because he's out of West Virginia.
He looks a little more nimble than the other fighter I know.
He went to Buckhannon Upshur High School, home of the Pirates.
He also went to University of California
of Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, which we will get to that debacle. We will.
Wait a minute.
Dudes, dudettes, it is our pleasure to welcome for our first time ever on Dude Network, and probably after that, the last time.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. What an intro! I appreciate it.
Hey, is the last name right? Is it Gaudet?
It's Gaudet. It's French.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I was.
It never fails. It never fails. It never fails.
You also have Seal on your jukebox for stereotyping purposes at home, since it's French, you got that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I actually need to add that for sure.
If you get the reference, you get the reference. If you get the reference, you get the reference.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, Dillon. So how are we doing, man? Thanks for joining here with us. Absolutely awesome, and love the West Virginia shirt, of course. Let's go Mountaineers! Set the edge, spot the ball. Let's go.
Yeah.
So where are we at, man? How are we doing? You're down in Kentucky, Lexington, correct?
Yes, here in Lexington. I've been down here for almost 4 years this summer. Originally, as you mentioned, from Buchanan, West Virginia. We are the Buccaneers, even though one time I went and played at a basketball tournament somewhere, and they were like, "Why are you pirates? You're in the mountains." So they called us all mountain pirates. So I guess that would have been a better nickname, being in the mountains of West Virginia. But yeah, I've loved weather since I was a kid, meteorologist. I love sports, love racing, a big NASCAR fan, IndyCar fan, love that. Dirt racing, grew up around the track. So you kind of mentioned I do it all. I've hosted a Motorsports Monday segment where we kind of showcase some of the local short tracks here in Kentucky, those dirt short tracks here, and do the weather full time as a meteorologist on the mornings here in Lexington, Kentucky.
Nice.
That's so badass.
That is awesome.
Anything else?
Yeah. That's it for now. I could add a couple things on. I work here in Lexington, though.
They're always watching. They're always watching.
I do the weather here in Lexington, but on social media, the power of social media, as you all know, I can still do the weather back home in West Virginia. So my social media, especially on my Facebook, that's really geared to my hometown of Buchanan and kind of the Intermountain areas in West Virginia, because those areas don't get a lot of attention from the local news there sometimes, especially when it comes to weather. So I try to gear my Facebook towards my loyal following from back home in West Virginia.
That's awesome. Nice. Well, the streaming's a big deal of it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my wife, she's a huge fan of like Max Velocity, Ryan Hall, these like YouTube streamers. So, my first question to you is, how has that affected your kind of demographic? Is it hurt the viewership, and is it harder to make your show compete on a level with some of these guys that have all these tools that sitting there at home with their streaming platforms?
Yeah, it's a big talking point in the industry right now, and there are some people in broadcast that have been there for a long time that are completely against that. But there are also a lot of older meteorologists that are now realizing just how popular that group is, and I'm in the group that thinks the more people spreading weather awareness, the better. So if as many ways that you can
people.
Yeah, absolutely. In many ways you can reach people, that's a good thing and a positive thing in my mind. And it is really difficult broadcast wise to compete with the reach that they have, considering one, a lot of these do it for national, where we're really focused on our home areas. But another thing that makes it difficult as well is when you're sitting on a computer with all your monitors in front of you, it's a lot easier to get information, read information when you're on the green screen, where you're really limited on what you can see and hear. So I think that we're obviously in a transitional phase of broadcast television right now, and to add more elements that they have on Max Velocity, Ryan Hall, to traditional news, especially breaking weather information, the better. I mean, one thing I'm realizing is I always thought that a lot of information on the screen was too much and too confusing for viewers sometimes. But Max Velocity and Ryan Hall prove that the more information on the screen, the better. People they can't get really bored. There's always something catching their eye, whether it's the radar or the
people nerd out on it, man. There's so much information, and there's so many people that want to be meteorologists, but you'll tell it's not easy to become a meteorologist. And then to get a TV job is even harder. So if anything, I kind of commend those guys, because they're just like, I'm not getting my opportunity, I'll just create my own. And, and I think the one guy out of Cincinnati at one of the stations actually was one of the streaming guys. The news station needed a weather guy, and they liked him so much, they just hired him, So now he got his dream desk job, I mean, it opens a lot of opportunities. So do you see more of the news? Do you see yourself doing more independent social media streaming of these weather bulletins, on their Facebook page and Instagram pages? Is that kind of your role? And is that something they're adapting more to over the last year or two?
Yeah, definitely. One thing, we break in wall-to-wall coverage on the green screen for tornadoes, but severe thunderstorms, we don't do that. So I've added on different elements to our Facebook lives, just going live when there are general thunderstorms on a weekend, or say severe thunderstorms that are still impacting people, but not enough for us to break in. Just going live on our Facebook. I've put together a little simple, version of the screen on OBS, just, getting as much information as I can on the screen in a short amount of time, and doing those. And I've found, people really appreciate that. And sometimes when the weather's even quiet, just having a coffee chat, talking to people, hey, the weather's quiet today, but this weekend we have some storms. So definitely adding more of that digital element to it is key. And I guess a way that TV can tie it into it, we still have our apps, our weather apps. So we can stream on there if you're worried about, if TV stations and news directors and things are worried about driving people to your website, your app, you can stream that easily on an app or even on your on your website.
Okay, yeah, that's
pretty good.
I figured as much, but yeah, I appreciate you breaking that down there for us. Johnsy, Damon, you guys fire away. I jumped right into it there. That's my bad.
It's cool. I'm locked and loaded too on this one. I got a kind of a two-parter, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So, what's the most challenging part of forecasting weather?
Definitely I don't really know how to describe it here. It's the unpredictability of it, right? You can prepare all week for this setup that's, you're expecting storms to fire up. And then you get what's called a cap, which is kind of like a lid on the atmosphere. If that cap doesn't break, sometimes you don't get those strong storms to develop. So it's weighing the balance of, in a situation like that, cap breaks, which again, acts like a lid on the atmosphere. If the storms can't break through that cap, they don't really strength, but when they do strengthen, they're going to become really strong. So that's an interesting forecast, because you're telling people, storms may not happen at all, but if they do happen, they're going to be very strong. Where other instances, say a cold front's coming through and you have a line of storms, you kind of know, there are going to be this many storms that are causing this many warnings. And to kind of balance that out, yes, we know these storms are happening with the cold front, but they might not be quite as strong as these storms that could happen on a day where the atmosphere is really volatile and the cap breaks. So that's been a challenging part of it. But I think a lot of people, we get the hate comments, but a lot of people realize how difficult it is to forecast. And I think most people know, we're not doing this. I'm anti-hype. I have that in my bio. Like, I don't want to hype things up unless it's deserving to. And I think that my audience, especially my audience back in West Virginia, they realize, because I've been doing Facebook posts for them since I was in high school, talking about it, my philosophy of not being too hyping up storms and stuff like that.
Right.
Well, and it's important because I know, again, my wife's real big into the weather, and she'll tell me, she's like, there's people sounding alarms that don't sound alarms. We need to do a little extra for that. So it's important, I think, that you do that, because it keeps that trust. And I think with the meteorologists and their fans, you got to be able to trust what you're saying. Like, if you say it's rough every time, eventually they're going to be like, hey, this guy always says it. But yeah, no, that's great. Damon.
Hey, so we had a debate going around the office.
We'll get back to my part two.
Oh, my
your
bad.
Part two don't matter.
My bad.
But go with your part two. Go with your part two.
No,
okay, well, we had a debate going around the office.
Go.
We had a debate going around the office one time about when it says it's a certain percentage of rain in the area. What is that actually saying when it says there's a certain percentage of rain?
Good question.
Well, this is it really depends on what you're looking at. A 7-day forecast is, most of the time, and how I do it, it's a generalization of the entire area. It's not for a specific point. But your phone's app, which again, I keep track of this stuff on an Excel spreadsheet. A lot of these apps, and I'm not going to call them out, but a lot of them are very inaccurate that you're getting from national sources. Especially here,
I
I track
100% believe you so much.
Yes,
he wants to name names so bad.
I do. But I have an Excel sheet that dates back 2 years of keeping track of my forecasts, comparing them to the apps, comparing them to the different models, comparing them to the National Weather Service. But those forecasts that you're getting on those, the rain percentages, that is for a given point and the percentages. So a lot of people get confused when they're watching television and seeing, the 7-day forecast on there. That's for an area, but your rain percentage that you're getting on your phone for especially the
More
hourly
targeted.
for your location, that is, that percentage chance that you're going to get rain at a certain time for sure.
Okay.
We had the same thing because we were trying to explain. It's like it's like 50% chance of rain this week. Like, no, that's basically meaning that's like for the area. So like if it rains, like only 50% chance of the areas. It's like basically saying scattered showers. Like, calm down.
But my philosophy is
ludicrous for saying that.
Yeah, my philosophy is, and my chief meteorologist, TG Shuck, who's been around here in Lexington for a long time, but his philosophy is we don't use 50% because of that exact reason. If you're saying 50%, you're not really telling anyone anything. It might or might not.
Right.
I think 40% and 60%, at least on the 7-day forecast is a better example. But it's important to know sometimes on a 20% chance, you can still deal with those strong storms. That has to go back to what I'm talking about with that cap. That sometimes when there are fewer storms, they're stronger storms in a lot of instances.
Cap. Yeah, because more energy is being carried over. Right.
Yeah, and the more storms, the more energy they're sucking up as well.
Right.
So
Which where I'm located, it's like 2.5, 3 hours, and I'm at the peak ridges of the Sierra Nevadas. So if that storm's been coming in from however far out in the Pacific and doesn't do anything to the Bay Area or the valley before me, because there's a little coastal mountain range, sometimes they'll clear right over it, drop like a sprinkle, but then to get over these hills, just hammers down. And there's a weird anyway.
Yeah, the orographic lift. I think that's where all that moisture from.
Yeah, I don't know
from
the
ocean. Once it hits that mountain, it's got to go somewhere, and it comes down.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Part 2, Johnsy.
How does predicting?
I didn't think you'd even remember it.
How accurate weather stuff wise? Like, I know technology and this and that, but is it now from say 30 years ago, 20 years ago?
Well, I think a great example of this is looking at. You want to look at it as hurricanes, for example, because they're the strongest type of storms. And the National Hurricane Center has collected data and published it to where the 3-day forecast cone that you're seeing for hurricanes is as accurate as a 5 to 7 day forecast cone from just 20 years ago. So that is the rate of improvement right now. And now I think we're going to really see an acceleration as well, because machine learning and AI is becoming the thing right now. A lot of programmers, meteorologists, way smarter than me, that develop these models are now using AI technology to help their model forecasting. And we found the European model, especially right now, has a AI machine learning model as well, and it is doing very well. And I use that in my forecasting.
The Europeans
the extremes. it can pick up on the extremes very well. The extreme heat and the extreme cold or extreme storms. Those AI models, what they're doing is going back to data that meteorologists have collected.
Right. That's what I was
going to say. Where traditional models aren't doing that.
The ability that the AI machine has to be able to consistently, accurately, and forever remember every bit of data it's ever seen and never miss a number. That's the only reason. It's not like Skynet. This is just, it's not anything like that. It's just computers don't make those mistakes once they see the data that a human eye would, or a tired brain is going to be like, write a 9 instead of an 8, which is a whole nother trajectory of something in this.
Yeah, and just the memory aspect of it is a big thing as well. The fact that we can't remember every storm. I mean, I'm only 20 in my late 20s here. I can't remember every storm that's happened in Lexington on recorded history, but the AI model in seconds can compare what a radar looks like.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's so crazy. Well, we're talking about AI, but there's always like the old scales. And my next question is,
right, here's where I was headed next as well.
What is the coolest scale out there? And part 2 to that is, why is it the Waffle House scale?
The Waffle House scale is a great scale. When the Waffle House is closed, that's when you know it's serious. The Jim Cantori scale is also a good one. You mentioned that. If Jim Cantori's in town, you're going to be dealing with some pretty rough weather for sure.
Oh man, you guys are aware of the Waffle House?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they're open.
Are you aware of the Waffle House
from my house?
You're aware of it too, Johnsy?
Yeah. Well, we don't have the Waffle House anymore. It's now a adult botanical shop.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good place for it.
They're still bringing people joy. I mean,
I bet whatever snacks they have in that are better than anything that was on Waffle House's menu.
100% guarantee that. And I doubt there's any stomach issues.
So, Dylan, this one next year is a little bit of a gray area. You know, you don't have to answer it. But why would we dump 5 tons of dry ice into a hurricane over Western North Carolina? I'm joking.
No, that is, a lot of people do.
No one saw that.
Very common conspiracy. But I think it's important to note. I'm not going to get too much into this because people are very heated about it. But when you're seeing those condensation trails in the sky, that's not cloud seeding. Cloud seeding, you need a cloud to cloud seed, and cloud seeding does happen regularly in the Midwest because farmers use it, and it actually happens a lot on the West Coast. Ski resorts use it to create, try to help enhance snowfall rates. So I do want to, cloud seeding is a thing. It's not done on large scales, and it would be absolutely pointless to spray that stuff on a clear sky day because it would do nothing. Cloud seeding would do nothing on a clear sky day because you need a cloud first to
form it. Yeah, gotcha.
Heck yeah. No, that was funny. Sorry, that was gaslighting. That was just,
yeah.
I wanted to watch some eyes.
I'm happy. I want to educate on that topic. So
yeah. Who's your favorite West Virginia coach of all time? Basketball, football, baseball, any of them?
Ooh, that's tough. I would say, it's tough to say anyone but Bob Huggins. Just the joy that he brought, and I'm happy with where the basketball program's at now. But the days of Bob Huggins, they were incredible. Rich Rod can easily take that spot back though if he goes out here and has a little redemption story. Then that, in my mind, skyrockets to the best. My dad would probably not say Rich Rodriguez. He'd go back to the coaches in his days, and I guess that's life as a West Virginia fan. He'd say Don Nehlen and his favorite coach, but I never got to experience Don Nehlen, so I can't say that for a fact.
Yeah,
hey, all right.
My kids would go to Indian Valley High School, which is where Bob Huggins is from, so he's like from our area. So yeah, that's my very biased answer as well. But Rich Rod brought some cool, because I went to college in Philippi at Alderson Broadus during Rich Rod's tenure, during that national championship. So I was kind of part of the college scene when that was going on. So Rich Rod had some pretty cool moments. But sorry, yeah, that was had to sneak one West Virginia question in there, boys. Go ahead.
Imagine that.
Well, I'm going to stir the pot a little bit more. Who's got better weather to cover, Kentucky or West Virginia?
That's it's definitely more active in Kentucky. I will say that.
Yeah, you guys got a rough go, man.
Yeah, that was part of the draw for me to move to Kentucky. Is I really wanted to challenge myself. I worked at my hometown TV station, and I said I was in high school and middle school doing snowfall forecasts and will we have school or will we not. So I knew the area really well. I really wanted to branch out, go someplace I'd never really been, not too far from home, but far enough to where the weather is more active. And I've certainly I've done more than I asked for, I think.
It's been doozies out there for this last couple years.
Recap your last 6 months of catastrophic weather events, good and bad.
Yeah, just in 2025, we started out, I think, the second weekend of the year. ice storm, big time ice storm,
Hammered.
a lot of power outages. It was brutal, and it was almost like right on top of Lexington that had the worst of the ice too. So we had that. We had February bad flooding in the eastern Kentucky mountains that caused a lot of damage, and they're still really struggling to recover from that flooding and flooding a couple years ago. And then we had some tornadoes in February as well in the March, and now we've had a couple
February
rounds
tornadoes.
of more severe weather. So yeah, the hits keep on coming. We're in a little bit of a quiet weather pattern right now, though. So I'll take that any day right now.
Yeah, take the best while you can.
I was within an hour of you a couple weeks ago, and it was like my GPS was like all kinds of messed up because it was like, yeah, that was a flood. I might still be a flood, so maybe you should go around it. And I was like, nah, we're gonna hammer down and roll the dice. We got all.
And speaking of West Virginia, they had baseball-sized hail a couple weeks ago as well. Charleston, West Virginia. I mean, they're even getting into the mix.
That would kill you.
Baseball.
There was one storm that actually threw tornadoes in West Virginia last year, and I had never heard of tornadoes in the mountains. And I remember like actually texting people, and I was like, "Hey, I don't want to be that guy, but I have a feeling that you have no clue what's going on, but you are under an active tornado warning." I was like, "There is tornadoes." I'm like, this is a very serious situation.
Yeah, Pocahontas County, for example, is in the mountains. It's not very populated at all. Green Bank Observatory, if you've ever heard of it, it's a big radio telescope, biggest on the East Coast. It's there, but they had their first documented tornado last year. So yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, I remember it was like it went all the way.
These guys were texting me this year saying, "Yo," I was like, "Hey, I just got a weird tornado warning on my phone." Tony's like, "Yo, dude, I'm watching you on the weather, like your area."
Yeah,
I'll send pictures to people. I'll be like, "Hey, how's the weather?" And I'm extending. It'll be like their town on the screen with the red.
Like one touchdown is scraped like this big old long section of trees out in a orchard, and then kind of fizzled out. So they called it something weird on the news over here, though. They're like, "Oh, it was a straight line wind," or I don't know
what.
I'm like, bro, we saw the funnel. Like, what do you mean? I don't know.
It was a water spout. It was a water spout.
Yeah, dude, it was like, oh, it's a straight line wind. Like, well, no shit, I can see the straight line of trees, but come on, people.
Dylan, you ever going to do some tornado chasing?
That's what I was about to ask right now.
I have gone on some tornado chases. I have not been lucky enough to see a tornado, unfortunately, which is a dream, I guess. I hate when people say it's a dream to see a tornado because I don't want to be the one tornado I see killing,
devastate, right?
Yeah, what was that? Yeah, there was like a team like 10 years ago. They have all the videos out there of them just getting sucked up and played like world. I don't want to be that guy.
I don't want to be that guy, and I also don't want to be like, oh, a tornado and it's destroying a town. I don't want to be that guy either. Yeah. I would like to see a tornado maybe in the middle of the field in Iowa, nowhere near any houses. That would be an ideal way to see it. I have seen a wall cloud, which is that lowering that John Z might be talking about from the storm, and then you get that funnel coming out. I've seen that several times.
Yeah, there was a couple big old, what did you call it, a wall?
Wedge. It's a wall cloud, sorry. Wall cloud.
Yeah.
There was a bunch from the base of the storm.
My wife lived out in Oklahoma, so she turned around and she goes, that's going to funnel down if it goes any worse. And I'm like, well, okay. What do we do? What's the protocol? We don't have basements for that out here.
Well, no. What you do like you done in school. You grab your book and put it over top of your head and kneel in the hallway. I mean,
there you go.
What we was taught in school.
Would you? Yeah. Grab a book. Yeah.
Grab a book, put it over the back of your head, and kneel in the hallway. That's what we was taught in school. That's how you handle a tornado.
That's how you handle it. Don't worry about that.
I'm getting in my car and dipping. I don't care what they say. I'm out.
Bad idea.
Yeah,
closet.
You heard it.
Closet inside your closet's a great place to be. Or hey, actually, a bathroom. If you have a bathroom that's not connected to the outside of the house, the plumbing from the bathroom. Sometimes when houses get slabbed by tornadoes, all that's left is the bathtub and the toilet because the toilet's so grounded by the plumbing.
Because plumbing goes like what? You got to go below the freeze line on your plumbing, which I think is like 30 inches, I think, up here in this part. But
how fast do tornadoes travel? Like moving forward, or
you can get some very fast moving storms. I'm seeing upwards of 80, 90 miles per hour.
So all I gotta do is drive 120,
movement.
baby. Let's go.
Yeah, that a lot of them though, especially the big ones, they move fast. 40 to 50 miles per hour would be a kind of a starting point for those supercell tornadoes.
Have you guys ever seen them crazy bastards that sit in the car that's built like an armored tank, and they drill like 20 inches down into the pavement, and they actually will intercept them, and they'll be like, it's like, until one day it actually happened. A tornado engulfed them up, and it just blacked out, and the guy was in there like, please Jesus, please Jesus, please help me. It's be careful what you wish for, because you got it.
Reed Timmer,
he thought it was cool being in a tornado until he was in the tornado. So
Reed Timmer is one of the guys that does that, and he's actually very well educated meteorologist with degree from Oklahoma. He's a lot of people on this storm chasing and YouTube now weather world don't have degrees and things like that, but Reed Timmer is
definitely not.
Reed Timmer has his credentials for sure.
Yeah.
Did the guy make it or no?
Oh, they made it. Oh yeah.
I'm not sure the one that may not have been Reed. I think it was one of the other ones that have these.
The Vortex. The Vortex is Reed the Vortex car.
He is the Dominator.
No, this was called the Vortex. This was one of the YouTubers. Yeah. These guys were not prepared for what happened. But they survived, and they got unbelievable footage.
Inside 400 miles.
It was just
crazy.
It was just crazy.
400 too strong, but it could get up 100 over 100.
I don't know. I hear all these crazy wind numbers and hurricanes.
Well, the guys that we're talking about, they were on Reed Timmer's team, right?
I think so. I know what you're talking about. That when that happened,
but they got pictures of the car getting with the headlights on, like at least 100 feet in the air.
Bro, there's also a dude. There's a video of a dude in a freaking Chevy, who it gets so close to him.
Oh, that truck, that red Chevy
Silverado, pulls him sideways. He's all nope, and
not today.
Tony, I know who you're talking about now. That was from the Weather Channel. The Weather Channel's group that got hit, I believe, because you could see their white
get a
car
new weather app if their guys are getting
lights in the and that was Mike Bettis, who's a big Weather Channel personality. His car was also thrown off the road. He did not die in that, but I believe somebody did die. A couple people did die in that.
There was two
group.
People in the car, a driver and a camera guy. But no, dude, there's these I think I shared in the group chat about how 2x4s thrown through concrete curbs, puncture, pieces of straw halfway through a tree, just unbelievable.
You can get straw through concrete sometimes too, but twigs.
Hey,
that's how they measure. When you see that,
all it needs is the exact right angle with that much force, homie. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. So I guess, is there any kind of weather situation that is on your that you want to cover before your career's over? I know we talk about going out chasing tornadoes, but there's the coastal areas of the hurricanes. You got your you got your Hawaii tropic weather, the typhoons, the cyclones. You got Alaska weather. United States has all this different kind of weather. Is there a dream area or a bucket list item, that area you'd like to cover before your career's all said and done?
Definitely the tropics, because I've only worked in West Virginia and Kentucky, which we did get some pretty bad flooding and a lot of wind from Helene, but here in Kentucky. But definitely the tropics. That's one thing I haven't covered. I've covered multiple tornadoes, flooding, massive snowstorms, ice storms now this year. So to check off the bucket list item of being live there in a hurricane would definitely be something, that I'd appreciate. And I would not be one of those people that you can see the people walking behind them all leisurely, and I'm struggling pulling around. I'm anti-hype. I want
yeah, dude. That I was
honest.
gonna say, I will send you an email, man. I'll be like, dude, come on. I had faith in you. You were supposed to be the guy to restore the faith.
Yeah.
Damon Johnsy, wrap it up here for Dillon, man. We're going to send him back here so he can go help doing the Lord's work down here in Lexington, keeping the people dry and safe.
Have you ever had a really bad moment on TV, like you're out, you get up, and then you had to have one? Tell us about your worst
I've had
day.
a couple.
Tell us about your work that you're comfortable with talking about.
Well, I guess this is one I don't think anyone would have noticed, but I have a TikTok of this happening. And I'm not going to say what I accidentally said, but so I combined the words quick and brief. Just think about what.
Yep. Yeah. 100%
So,
with you, buddy.
we wear like IFBs, they're called, that they can talk to us in the control room, and they give us time cue. So they were giving me a 30-second time cue, as because I'm ad-libbing, I'm not reading off of a teleprompter. I was thinking about what I was going to say next, and I was like, should I say quick or brief tornado? And I said queef tornado instead of quick or brief. I combined both of them, and I'm like, you can see it in the video. I'm like, I looked over at the anchor. I was like, oh. But they didn't realize it at first. But I'm like, am I going to get fined for saying a queef tornado?
Awesome.
That would be hilarious. Reason for firing: said called a tornado, queef tornado.
that was one. Also, we had to cut in during a Kentucky bowl game on ABC for a tornado. That wasn't actually a tornado, but a fire department falsely reported that there was a tornado on the ground. So there was already a ton of confusion. And then we have to break into Kentucky bowl game against Iowa. So that was rough. Talking about the amount of messages we got was endless. I was actually off camera and had to work my way on camera to like, hey, we gotta wrap this up and go back to the game because we were in boxes, but the game was in the little box and we were in the big box. So I got on and I'm like, all right, we need to wrap this up. It wasn't actually a tornado. Enjoy the game. Bye. But people, people were angry. Yeah.
At least
I imagine
that's SEC football. Yeah, you can't do that. SEC football.
I'll wrap it up here.
Go, Damon. Sorry.
You got something else? Go ahead.
No. If you get one.
No, I was gonna say, hey, appreciate you coming. This is the first time we've had a meteorologist on. Very intriguing stuff. Right. But we like to do this for everybody. Roll out the red carpet for yourself. Tell everybody where they can find you, how they can follow you. Right. This is your time right here.
Yep. Yeah. So you can find me on all social media. I'm Gaudet Weather, and it's Gaudet, again, French, spelled like Gaudet, but it is Gaudet Weather. You can find me there on Facebook, on X, Twitter, also on TikTok. Same deal there. And then I have a YouTube page. I don't really post a lot on it, but it has my, some clips of my work on there and things like that. I'm definitely looking to bolster up my online social media presence just because of the reach that it does have. So Gaudet Weather, that's what I'll stay with really through my whole journey for sure. But yeah, that's how you can find me. I also do have a racing podcast with some buddies. It's called Cloudy with a Chance of Racing. So we talk about, NASCAR, IndyCar, some local short track stuff on there as well.
I like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we like a little racing. Racing.
Yeah, absolutely.
A teeny bit.
Yeah, we actually had a future NASCAR racer on a couple months ago. That was fun. So,
Trey Burke
with an E. Dillon, dude, it's been so fun. I'm glad we got linked up on TikTok, man. Please keep in touch. We're excited to join you on your journey here, and I know you got a lot of good things left to do down there in Lexington, and we're gonna be there for you all the way. Keep in touch, man. We'd love to have you back on to do. I think we just kind of scratched the surface. You got all of our high level, easy layup questions. But yeah, I think we'd like to have you back on maybe during like hurricane season down the road or something like that. And just keep in touch with you, man. Good, best of luck. Happy storm season coming up. Happy not flood anymore season for you down in Kentucky.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thank you guys. Love your all's content that you put out. It's fun, entertaining. I've got to get my dad hooked on it because he would love you guys. I'll send this to him and get my dad hooked on you guys and stuff. I really watched a lot more after y'all asked me to be on here. And I'm like, this is my dad's kind of stuff. So I will. I'll get him on that. And thank you guys again for having me on. I really appreciate
man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Yeah, tell Papa good day. I'm so sorry I butchered the family heritage there at the start of this.
It's okay. I've heard a lot worse pronunciations than Gaudet. That's the popular, and I think that's how they say it up in the Northeast. So like the Massachusetts Gaudets, Gaudets, they pronounce it that way. So you weren't wrong per se.
At least I didn't say got it. So, all right, everybody, dudes and dudettes. Thank you, Dillon. Yeah, I'd say that'd be terrible because some people have ruined Lane and called me like, "Hey, are you Laney?" Nope, just Lane. So, everybody, thank you again, Dillon, for hopping on here with us. We'll see everybody this upcoming Thursday to kick off this next week of shows with the late night parlay. We're back live with Chip after last week's NFL draft special. So we're looking forward to having another great week of shows next week. We hope everybody has a great week at work and doesn't work too hard. And hopefully you end up better than where you did yesterday. So we appreciate everybody. Be a friend, tell a friend. Thank you, Garage Beer, the beer of beers, the king of beers, the dude beer, approved beer. Let's go. See ya.